My girlfriend said, "If you love me, stop funding murder with cat food. You're choosing a cat over our future." I replied, "Okay," did the grocery runs, and pretended I'd think about it while Mittens slept on my hoodie. By Friday night, even her sister texted me one warning. 22 Mittens here, college senior, and I'm sitting in my dorm room at 2 a.m. with my cat Mittens purring on my lap, trying to figure out if I just destroyed the best relationship I've ever had, or finally grew a backbone. This whole situation has me questioning everything I thought I knew about love and compromise. Here's the backstory. I've been with my girlfriend Emma for almost 2 years. She's 21, incredibly passionate about animal rights, environmental issues, the whole social justice package. When we started dating, I was pescatarian, ate fish, but no meat. Within about 3 months of being with her, I'd gone full vegan. Not because she pressured me directly, but because her arguments made sense, and honestly, I wanted to impress her. We became this power couple on campus. The vegan activists. People knew us as the couple who organized the plant-based food drives, who could lecture anyone about factory farming statistics, who had matching "animals are friends, not food" tote bags. It felt good being part of something bigger than myself, having this shared mission with someone I was falling in love with. Mittens has been with me for 3 years. I got him as a kitten when I was a freshman, dealing with homesickness and anxiety about being away from my family for the first time. This cat has been my constant companion through late-night study sessions, breakups, friend drama, the whole college experience. He's not just a pet, he's family. Emma has always been a bit weird around Mittens. Not allergic, just uncomfortable. She'd tense up when he jumped on furniture, make comments about cat hair on my clothes, suggest we always hang out at her place instead of mine. I figured she just wasn't a cat person, which was fine. Not everyone has to love animals the way I do. But last month, we started talking seriously about moving in together next year, looking at apartments, making plans for after graduation. That's when she dropped the bomb that's been destroying my sleep for weeks. "If we're going to live together," she said, sitting on my bed while Mittens was curled up between us, "we need to talk about your cat situation." I thought she meant logistics, litter box placement, cat-proofing the apartment, maybe splitting pet expenses. I was not prepared for what came next. "Real vegans don't keep pets," she said, as casually as if she was commenting on the weather. "It's ownership of another sentient being. And beyond that, cats are obligate carnivores. Every day you feed Mittens, you're directly contributing to the meat industry. You're paying for animals to be killed so your cat can eat." I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. When it didn't come, I tried to explain that Mittens needs meat to survive, that I've talked to veterinarians about vegan cat food and they all said it could be dangerous, especially since he has a sensitive stomach and has had digestive issues in the past. "There are plant-based cat foods now," she said, pulling up some website on her phone. "And honestly, if you can't make that work, then you need to find Mittens a new home. I can't build a life with someone who claims to be vegan while directly funding animal cruelty every single day." I felt like I'd been slapped. This cat had gotten me through some of the darkest periods of my college experience. He's the reason I didn't drop out sophomore year when my anxiety was at its worst. And she was asking me to just get rid of him. "Emma, this is my family we're talking about. I can't just abandon him." "It's not abandonment. It's recognizing that your lifestyle choices have been inconsistent with your stated values. If you want a future with me, if you want to be the person you claim to be, then you need to make this choice." I told her I needed time to think about it, which apparently was the wrong answer. She said there shouldn't be anything to think about if my values were actually aligned with hers. That a real vegan would understand immediately why keeping a carnivorous pet was ethically wrong. She left that night, and I've been spiraling ever since, looking at Mittens, who's been nothing but loving and loyal, and trying to figure out how the person I love could ask me to betray that loyalty, how she could make our relationship contingent on me getting rid of a living creature who depends on me. I love Emma, I really do. But I can't imagine my life without this cat. And I'm starting to wonder if the person who could demand I abandon a family member is really the person I thought she was. AITA for refusing to give up my cat for someone I want to build a future with? Or am I holding on to the past instead of embracing growth? Update 1. I tried to have another conversation with Emma yesterday, thinking maybe we could find some middle ground. I was hopeful, actually. I'd researched everything. High-quality vegan cat foods that might work for cats without health issues, indoor cat management to eliminate hunting, air purifiers for apartments, separate feeding areas. I thought I could show her I was taking her concerns seriously while still keeping Mittens. The conversation did not go the way I expected. "You're missing the point," she said before I'd even finished explaining my research. "This isn't about finding ways to make exploitation more palatable. It's about principle. Either you understand that keeping pets is fundamentally wrong, or you don't." I asked if she'd consider any compromises. Me handling all cat-related responsibilities, keeping Mittens primarily in my space if we moved in together, even keeping him at a friend's place a few days a week to minimize her exposure. "There are no compromises in ethics," she said, and the way she said it made my stomach drop. "You don't compromise with oppression. You don't negotiate with systems of harm." That's when something clicked for me. I remembered how proud she'd been when I went vegan so quickly after we started dating, how she'd bragged to friends about how fast I'd evolved my thinking. At the time, I thought it showed how much I cared about her values. Now I'm wondering if it was just the first test of how easily I could be molded. Because that's what this feels like, a test. Not a conversation about our future or how to blend our lives, but an examination of my willingness to sacrifice something important to me to prove my devotion to her. "You're choosing a cat over our future," she said when I told her I couldn't give up Mittens. "You're choosing convenience over growth. You're choosing selfishness over love." The way she framed it made me feel crazy for a minute. Like maybe I was being unreasonable. Maybe I was prioritizing an animal over the woman I love. Maybe I was clinging to something that was holding me back from becoming a better person. But then I got home, and Mittens jumped into my lap the way he does every night, and I realized what was really happening here. She wasn't asking me to grow or evolve. She was asking me to prove my commitment to her by betraying my commitment to something else I love. That's not love. That's control. Someone in the comments mentioned that healthy relationships don't require you to sacrifice existing loyalties to prove new ones. And that hit me hard, because looking back, there have been other moments like this, smaller ones that I rationalized away. When I wanted to visit my family for Thanksgiving instead of going to a vegan potluck she'd planned, she made comments about my priorities. When I stayed friends with my roommate who isn't vegan, she'd regularly point out how he was a bad influence on my commitment to animal rights. When I wanted to keep taking organic chemistry because I'm interested in veterinary school, she suggested that was just me trying to find ways to continue exploiting animals professionally. I've been so focused on being the boyfriend she wanted that I didn't notice how much of myself I was giving up in the process. The thing that scares me most isn't the ultimatum itself. It's realizing that if I did give up Mittens to prove my love, there would just be another test waiting. Another way I'd need to demonstrate my worthiness by sacrificing something that matters to me. Update 2. It's been a week since my last update, and this situation has escalated in ways I never saw coming. I thought we were having a disagreement about pet ownership and ethics. Turns out we were having a much bigger conversation about control, respect, and what happens when someone decides they have the right to define who you are. After my last post, I decided to be completely direct with Emma. No more trying to find compromises she'd already rejected. No more attempting to negotiate something she'd made non-negotiable. I told her that Mittens wasn't up for discussion. He's staying, period. If she couldn't accept that, then we needed to seriously reconsider our relationship. Her response was immediate and ice cold. "So you're choosing to remain a fake vegan. You're choosing to be complicit in animal cruelty. You're choosing to be someone I can't respect." Then she started a campaign that honestly shocked me with how calculated it was. First, she posted on her Instagram story, not mentioning me by name, but with enough detail that anyone who knows us would understand. It's interesting how some people call themselves vegan while directly funding the meat industry every day. Makes you wonder what other ethical compromises they're making. Then she started reaching out to our mutual friends. Not to talk through the situation or get support, but to recruit them into what she called an intervention. She told people I was having a moral crisis and needed my friends to help me see clearly. 3 of them actually came to my dorm to talk to me about rehoming Mittens. Good people who genuinely thought they were helping, who had no idea Emma had orchestrated the whole thing. When I explained my side, they were confused and uncomfortable. One of them later told me Emma had made it sound like I was spiraling and making self-destructive choices. But the thing that made me realize how deep this went was something she said during our last conversation. If you keep that cat, I can't let people think I'm okay with that. I can't let them think I'm dating someone who enables cruelty. My reputation in the animal rights community matters too much. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about ethics or animal welfare or our future together. This was about her image, her status, her need to be seen as morally pure and uncompromising. She wasn't asking me to give up Mittens because she genuinely believed it was the right thing to do. She was asking me to give up Mittens because my refusal to do so made her look bad to people whose opinions she valued. I started thinking about all the times over the past 2 years when she'd pushed me to be more vocal about veganism, more aggressive in challenging non-vegans, more visible in activist spaces. I'd thought it was because she wanted to share something important with me. Now I realize it was because dating someone half-committed made her look less serious. The final straw came when she flat out said, "If you move forward with keeping that cat, everyone will know you're not really committed to this lifestyle, and they'll judge me for staying with someone like that." She wasn't asking me to grow or evolve or align with better values. She was asking me to perform the version of myself that made her look good. When I told her that was fucked up, that I wouldn't sacrifice a living creature for her social standing, she didn't deny it. She just got angrier. "You'll see," she said. "You'll realize that cat is holding you back from being the person you could be. And when you do, don't expect me to be waiting." I'm honestly scared about what she might do if we were living together and this conflict continued. Someone who sees my cat as a threat to her reputation, who views his existence as a personal affront to her values. Would I be able to trust her around him? What if she decided to help me by taking the choice away? What if she accidentally left a door open or gave him food that made him sick? I never thought I'd be worried about my girlfriend hurting my pet, but here we are. Final update. I'm writing this from my dorm room with Mittens asleep on my desk chair, and I need to close out this whole nightmare because it's finally over. I broke up with Emma yesterday. Not in the heat of an argument or because I was angry, but after 3 weeks of thinking about what I actually wanted my life to look like and who I wanted to be. I called her first to tell her it was over, then met her at the student center to have one final conversation in a public place. I needed to say some things, and I needed to make sure she understood this wasn't a negotiation or a dramatic gesture to get her to compromise. "I've been thinking about what you said," I told her, "about how I'm not really vegan, how I'm not committed to the values I claim to have. And you're right. My veganism does look different than yours." She looked hopeful for a second, like maybe I was about to announce I'd found Mittens a new home. "The difference is that I became vegan because I believe in reducing harm to animals. You use veganism as a way to control other people and prove your moral superiority. Those aren't the same thing." Her face changed immediately. "You're twisting this into something it's not." "I'm not twisting anything. You asked me to abandon a living creature who depends on me to prove my love for you. You tried to turn our friends against me when I wouldn't do it. You made it clear that your reputation matters more to you than my autonomy or my cat's life." I told her I respected her right to have whatever ethical standards she wanted for her own life. But she didn't get to define mine. That love doesn't require proof through sacrifice, and anyone who demands that isn't offering love. They're offering conditional approval. Her response was exactly what I expected by then. First, she tried to play the victim. "You're abandoning everything we built together. You're betraying the values you claim to share with me." When that didn't work, she got nasty. "You'll realize what a mistake this is. That cat is going to hold you back from becoming someone worth knowing. You're choosing mediocrity over growth." "I'm choosing loyalty over performance," I said. "I'm choosing authenticity over approval." Then I left. Blocked her number, her social media, removed her from all our shared digital spaces before she could use them to continue the campaign against my character. The aftermath has been weird. Some of our mutual friends have been supportive. Others have been cold, clearly having heard Emma's version of events where I'm the guy who chose a pet over progress. I'm okay with that. The people who actually know me understand what happened here. I've lost my identity as part of a vegan power couple. I've lost the social status that came with being Emma's boyfriend, the automatic inclusion in activist spaces, the feeling of being part of an important movement, but I've gained something more valuable: my self-respect, and the knowledge that I won't betray my commitments to prove my worthiness to someone else. I'm still vegan, by the way. Not because it's my identity or my brand, but because I still believe in the ethical framework that led me to that choice. The difference is that now it's my choice, made for my reasons, not performed for someone else's approval. Mittens is doing great. He has no idea he was at the center of a moral crisis that nearly destroyed my relationship. He just knows his human is home more often now, seems less stressed, and gives better scratches behind the ears. As for what I learned, compatibility isn't just about shared interests or values. It's about respecting each other's autonomy. It's about building something together without requiring the other person to destroy parts of themselves first. It's about love that adds to your life instead of subtracting from it. Anyone who asks you to choose between them and something you love, whether it's a pet, a family member, a passion, whatever, is telling you exactly how they'll handle future conflicts. They're showing you that their way of loving involves control, conditions, and constant tests of your devotion. That's not love. That's ownership. And I'd rather be single with my cat than owned by someone who thinks love is something you earn through sacrifice. Edit. A lot of people have asked what I'm planning next. Honestly, I'm focusing on finishing my senior year strong, figuring out graduate school applications, and rebuilding friendships I neglected while I was so focused on being the perfect activist boyfriend. I'm also looking into volunteering at the local animal shelter. Turns out you can care about animal welfare without having to prove it by abandoning the animals already in your life. Edit 2. For anyone in a similar situation, whether it's about pets or anything else someone is demanding you give up, trust your instincts. If someone claims to love you but needs you to prove it by sacrificing something important to you, they're not offering love. They're offering conditional approval that will always come with a new test, a new requirement, a new way to prove you're worthy. The right person will want to build a life that includes the things you love, not demand that you eliminate them to make room for their vision of who you should be. Edit 3. Someone asked about my family's reaction. They've been incredible. My mom said something that really stuck. Honey, someone who loves you wouldn't ask you to abandon your responsibilities to prove your feelings for them. My dad was more direct. Anyone who gives you ultimatums about family members isn't ready to be family themselves. They were right. Mittens isn't just my pet. He's my responsibility, my companion, my family. Emma asking me to abandon that responsibility wasn't about helping me grow or align with better values. It was about testing my willingness to prioritize her approval over my own integrity. I chose integrity. Best decision I've made in years.